Del Rio, Texas. Rob Wade and Robert Garza. Two guys who dive. This episode of Two Guys Who Dive, recorded Saturday, 28 July 2012. Episode 26, Talkin Trash. And here we are again with another episode of Two Guys Who Dive. I'm your host, Rob Wade, and I'm here with
Robert Garza.
All right, another week has gone by. Hard to believe it seems like we're just here last week.
Yep, sure does. And yes, the reclusive Robert Garza is here.
You're back.
I'm back,
at least for now. So how was your week?
It was good. It was actually really good.
How good was it?
Well, it was work. I mean, what can I say?
Yeah, me too. Man, for me, this week has been like one long Monday. Really? You know, you hate those kind of weeks where you start out and it hits the ball and it's a grounder the whole week, and you feel like you're scrambling to, fumbling with bad fingers or wearing mittens, and you can't pick it up and it just fumbles. That's been this whole week. Just couldn't get any traction until Thursday, and then suddenly, I do network stuff. Right. Suddenly, the perfect storm, everything, the planets aligned, and suddenly all the stuff that was going on fell into place. And I was like, oh, this needs to be Friday. Because, when we've had a week like that and it all starts to finally work, and you're like, wow, let's just stop while we're ahead.
Right.
No,
my week was actually pretty good. It's work. I mean, what can I say? For those of you that don't know what I do, I am a police officer for the school district, and there's no school right now.
Woohoo!
So
when do you all come back?
Well, I come back on the 20th. I'm gonna go on a vacation here starting on Wednesday.
Right.
So I'll be off for a few weeks, and I return back on the 20th, I believe, and school starts on the 27th.
Wow! Just seems like this summer has flown right on by.
It has. I had so many plans. I wanted to finish my dive master training stuff, and couldn't get in the water.
Just couldn't get it to happen.
Just couldn't get it done. It's just horrible. It's just.
I'd like to welcome our special guest for this podcast, and as it is our next to our youngest, Ronan. Say hi to everybody, Ronan.
You didn't hear him, but he did say hello.
That's right. Doggy speak. He's so sweet. He's recovering nicely after having had a back injury. And, of course, with dachshunds, if they damage their backs, a lot of times it's permanent and fatal because they're so long-backed. And so when they do stuff, if they get overweight and they do stuff that strains it, or if you accidentally do something to them that stresses their back, it's usually not a good time. And he was in pretty bad way, but through a lot of help from the local vet here and diligence on our part in immobilizing him, he's come back quite well, and he's doing fine.
It's awesome.
Little spaz. Meanwhile, our old man Zeus, who's 19 years old, golly, he just keeps on ticking. That poor guy, he looks horrible. I mean, he looks like something out of a horror movie.
I'm looking at him right now. He's over there chilling in the corner, and
that's what he does. He pretty much now is at a point in his life where he follows me everywhere.
Although I do have some news for those of you that are listening. Speaking of Zeus, I am we are the proud owners of a rat terrier.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and we named him Ronan.
Really? Now why? And what spelling did you use?
Well, we used the God of War, Zeus. Zeus. And why we named him that way, it was actually my son. He was playing a video game, and one of the characters in the video game was Zeus.
That's so funny.
He's we picked him out. I think it was a week ago. I think it was last Sunday.
Where'd you get him?
we answered an ad on the paper. Apparently, they were selling a couple of them. They had papers and everything, so we went ahead and went and took a look at him, and sure enough.
Wow. So how old is he?
He's 8 weeks old.
Oh, he's a baby.
Yeah, he's still a baby.
A wee lad.
He's tiny.
Nice.
But he's a real cool dog.
Yeah.
The reason I liked him was there was 2 of them. So when we went to go look at them, they put we were holding them both, and they were
right.
One was a little smaller than the other one, and I was leaning more towards the smaller one.
Right.
But the bigger one was just kind of wasn't moving, wasn't active at all. The little one was kind of moving around on us and stuff. So I was like, I'll take the little one.
He was really selling it.
Yeah. So then they were both males.
I know I want them to pick me.
Yeah, they were both males. So what we did was I put the little one on the ground, and it went straight for the gate where the mom was.
Ooh.
Yeah, and then I put the other one down, and he kind of went towards my car. So I was like, I'll take the big one.
There we go.
It was a sudden change, and my wife was like, well, why did you have a change? And I was like, because the little one still isn't ready to leave yet.
Yeah.
It wanted to go back with mom, and the other one was like, let's go.
That's cool. That's
and
cool.
it's been a really good dog. We're in the training process trying to take it out. So it goes to the bathroom and stuff. But I mean, the kids and
Tile.
Yeah, Tile.
We are so glad we have Tile for just that reason.
So my wife, my 2 boys they're ecstatic about it, and he pretty much goes everywhere with them.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So our Ronan, this little guy right here, this guy is named after one of the characters in Stargate Atlantis. So we spell it Ronon. We're big sci-fi fans, of course, and so our dogs typically get named something like that. Zeus was different because he had a different personality. He had such a big head as a puppy. He still does. He had such a big head as a puppy. I was like, he's like the man. So it was like Zeus, pretty much.
Yeah, and my in-laws were kind of a little disappointed about the name. You got to change that name. I'm like, no way.
It's a great name. It is a great name.
And they were asking me, where'd you get it from? And I kind of gave them the answer, from Pulp Fiction.
Oh, no. Big Mac.
Yeah, I gave them the answer from Pulp Fiction. And my father just looked at me and was like, okay.
What the what?
Yeah, it's...
Shut the front door.
Yeah, there was a little... I just kind of threw it out there, and I said it exactly like,
That's nice. So they're never coming over again.
They're never coming over. Nope.
Well, congratulations. It's always a fun time, especially with kids around. They're like, you got to kind of watch how they deal with them, because sometimes they can get a little rough with the puppies.
Actually, the puppies are the ones getting rough with my boys.
Grace is the same way. I mean, she's just, she's a spaz. She's our youngest, a red smooth coat. Yeah, sometimes the puppies, if they're not used to little kids, they're like, oh, they're close to my size. Let me jump on them.
We were there watching TV, and the little, my son Aiden, he was playing with it, and they were playing fine. He's kind of like teething, so they kind of chomp on everything.
Right.
And all of a sudden, I see he grabs a hold of his ankle and won't let it go.
Oh no!
So my son starts crying because he didn't break the skin, but he scratched them. And it was kind of like tapped it in the snout. Don't be biting.
Smack it.
Smack it in the mouth, and don't be biting. Oh, but no, he did really good. And I'm afraid that since he's a puppy and he's real playful, that my son's gonna get kind of fearful of it.
Right.
So we're kind of constantly just making sure that everything is good to go.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
That's always fun. So, the title of the episode this week is...
Okay, so what are we talking trash about?
We're talking trash. We're talking trash as in the concept of cleaning up after yourself.
Oh, okay.
Because you and I know, most divers know that when you go out places, and it almost doesn't matter where you go, you're going to find a lot of junk out there. Because basically, people are the trashiest people.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about this the other day, that the city of Del Rio has not had another citywide cleanup for quite some time.
Yeah, well, we know why that.
Well, we do. The previous mayor and his wife were big advocates of that. I don't know why the current one didn't pick that up. Just because somebody else thought of the idea doesn't mean it's a bad idea, you know? So I'm kind of disappointed that the city of Del Rio has not engaged in another one of those. And also, we sometimes participate in the Trash Fest in
New Braunfels.
In New Braunfels, which is a pretty awesome event. It's a fundraiser because you have entry fees, but it's a good cause because you're cleaning up the area, the Comal River area. So we like to participate in that when we can. It's a little bit of a drive for us, but we like to go out there when we can. Del Rio could benefit from something like that. I took it upon myself to kind of get some photographs, just quick shots out, look to give folks an idea what we find out there. And I'm not even including underwater shots where we find a lot of stuff underwater. But let's see if I can pull it up here. Of course, we don't have seals in Del Rio, but this is what happens out in the ocean. This is where people leave their nets, things like that get dropped overboard from boats, junk like that, and you see the poor animal life out there that is subject to the result of this. Turtles will choke on this stuff. Plastic bags and stuff. So the things you think are not important when you toss them overboard, yeah, they're important. Those beer and soda can things, I make a habit. Anytime we buy any soda, we typically buy it in the cartons. But if we do buy anything that uses these plastic holders, the first thing I do is I pull all the cans or bottles or whatever out, and I cut these things up into little pieces. I chop them up. I want to make sure that there's no way that they fall out of a trash truck or something like that, or otherwise get blown around, because there's stuff that gets loose at the landfill even.
Right.
So I'll cut this stuff up to make sure there's no chance that any birds or anything else will get wrapped up in it. But here is the kind of thing that you see. This should disgust people. This should anger people that we do this. I am not, anybody knows me knows I'm not a tree hugger. I do not believe that we should be the lowest common denominator on the planet. But I also believe that we are held by God to be stewards of all this. And so why would you want to throw things out there that destroy life or otherwise hurt life? Why? I don't understand that. Now here are some shots from San Felipe Creek here in Del Rio. This is out by the Tardy Dam area, for those who are familiar with the creek area in Del Rio. And you see this really, it's really hard to tell a lot of the stuff that's out there, but there's stuff that's wrapped up in just under the surface, under the hydrilla here. You see trash out there, and it all is going to wash down or get snagged on stuff. And there's tons of fish there. And again, hard to see, but there's stuff lining that far shoreline over there. It's a really nice house over there, by the way.
Oh yeah, they actually added that little gazebo for parties, but it looks, horrible because you can't go and sit there and get in the water.
Right, but all along the shore, you can look from the right to the left. You see little white marks, things like that. There's just trash that's all collected there, plastic bags and cans and bottles and things like that. And some more stuff floating down the stream. There's some more across the shoreline there. Some more stuff floating down the stream. I mean, and we've done cleanups out there. It's amazing the stuff we pulled out of there. Shopping carts,
lots of shopping carts.
aquariums, tires,
everything.
Just anything you think of, we pulled out of there. Lots of cans, lots of cans and bottles.
Yeah.
And get some more trash. It wasn't as packed there as far as people picnicking or swimming as it normally is. But those that were there, I really had to chew back bile because I would watch these people that sit there, and it was kind of windy today, so they'd have their paper plates and stuff like that, and it would be blowing all around. There was garbage everywhere. And it would blow off tables, and nobody even made an effort to get up and get the stuff. And eventually it's going to end up right here in the creek. Walking along the sidewalk, I'm like, why are there packets of mustard and ketchup and mayonnaise just sitting there? And the picnickers were only 10 feet away.
Wow.
It just boggles my mind. And some more trash floating down the stream. Some more you can see in the foreground sitting on the grass. There was a lot of it right at my feet, and all of it could have easily been blown right into the water. And I don't even know what this was. This was some sort of. I think this was
looks like a box.
It looked like a palm frond. From one of the local, southern plants here, but something was wrapped around it. I couldn't tell what it was. Maybe a small bag or a tire. I mean, this was a pretty good size. I mean, this was probably, if I stretched it out, it was as long as me.
Oh, wow.
And I wish I'd had time to actually blow this up for you. This guy and his girlfriend or wife or whatever, there were a bunch of tubers out, by the way. I mean, a lot of tubers. But these two, I saw this, and I was like, I know what would the answer to this be. This guy is just kind of lounging there, smoking a cigarette. And I don't know for sure, but I can just about promise you, most people that just float down the stream here, smoking away, where do you think they throw their cigarette butts when they're done? They likely toss them into the water. It's just disgusting. They already have a nasty habit to begin with, and then they're just floating down here. Of course, they're not going to put them in their little tubes. Right. They probably haven't thought far enough ahead, being selfish that they are, to bring something along to catch all their refuse. Same with the tubers. I'll bet you most of them do not put any of their garbage in some other container. I would, if I was going to do a big tubing thing like that, the first thing I'd think about is, okay, let's get a trash tube. Just have some sort of a big container stuffed in there that everybody can throw their garbage into, and then we haul it away when we're done. But I saw nothing like that in the group of tubers that were out there today. Now, going out to our favorite stomping grounds, I should have set the exposure up a little bit more. A lot of trash out at Scuba Cove. People come out there with their coolers, and they just stuff all this stuff in the rocks. And oh, by the way, a lot of these rocks that you see were underwater. And so you can imagine as the water level drops, guess what gets exposed? All the trash that was dropped down and sunk to the bottom. It's now exposed to the surface again.
Yeah.
Some more stuff, some old fishing line or trot line, something, and a plastic bag all wrapped around a tree. And this is the kind of stuff that we can get snagged on while we're diving, by the way.
And probably have.
Yes.
Cut a lot of that stuff loose.
Absolutely. Here's some more stuff that just got caught up in in some of the underwater flora. And I'm not even sure what this was. Some sort of a blue mesh kind of a thing. And bags and cans and bottles all floating out there.
Is that the small boat? Or?
That is the small boat, by the way. What Robert's referring to is
you walk out there pretty soon.
It really is this picture doesn't do it justice. It is so close to the shore. It is unbelievably. I'll bet it's only in about 15 feet of water.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. That's how far the lake has gone down, even since the last time we went out diving. That buoy, that round buoy that you see in the background here, was originally attached to a dive chest where the dock is at. And that was in about 28 feet of water. It was perfect for doing the controlled emergency swimming ascent and some of the other instruction exercises that require a dive line. But because that was so shallow now, I moved it over to the small boat, and because it was in about 28 feet of water. Well, now the lake keeps dropping, and now I'm guessing it's probably 15 to 18 feet of water right now. It's so close to the shore. Just incredible. Oh, and you see some twine, some fishing line wrapped around this stick here that used to be underwater.
Yep.
Ran into one of my former students that, there, by the way.
Diving?
No. She was just swimming.
Oh.
She and her kids. And some more trash. More trash. I think that's it. Oh, no. There was a rope of some type snagged in the rocks. And just some general trash back at the, just laying around. Picnickers, not caring, just leaving it there. And there's plenty of trash cans nearby.
They're all over the place.
Yeah. So, yeah, those are some shots to kind of show you folks who are watching why we get concerned. Not just besides the fact that it looks horrible. You know, I'm not a superficial guy, but you saw what it can do to the life out there. And it doesn't take anything for people to just hold on to your trash till you can throw it away. Or be thinking ahead before you go places and bring something along with you. When we bring our dive trailer, I actually have a fold-up trash hanger that you can use the regular plastic bags from like H-E-B and Walmart. It's designed so you can hang those on this fold-up device. And so we are able to reuse those bags that we bring our groceries home. We're able to reuse those bags and hang those up as trash bags. And we can put stuff up, throw stuff away in that trailer. And we bring a bunch of those with us. I have a container that we keep those. And so when we go to Balmaray, even though there are trash cans and dumpsters around, we are able to use those bags, collect our trash, and then when it's more convenient, we take the whole bag and dump that. It just takes a little forethought, folks. You got to consider that this world is under our stewardship, and if we're going to continue to enjoy it, we need to take care of it. You know, I think we should probably try to get with the city and see if we can get another clean, even if it's just the creek.
Yeah.
You know, get folks together, get some divers together. We can go diving to pull trash out, but get folks working the shore, and get it cleaned up because it's a resource.
It is. Looking at those pictures really kind of upset me. Again, kind of like you know, I'm not, you know, it doesn't take a lot to just pick up the trash and throw it away, especially in places like that. I ride my bike through there all the time in the evenings because they have the bike trail there.
Right.
And I see people there really late at night because I tend to ride my bike once the sun goes down because it's kind of hot to ride during the day. I'm not, you know, I'm crazy but not stupid.
Nice.
Yeah, and but it's, you know what they're doing. They're drinking in the park late at night, and they just toss the bottles into the river, into the creek, because we've seen that. We've seen it when we go and clean it up. And you mentioned earlier the New Braunfels cleanup. Well, there's always, if you know anything about it, tubers start in one part of the creek or the lake, and they make their way down to the end of it, and that's where they tend to have the that annual cleanup, the New Braunfels trash cleanup, and it's a big thing, and New Braunfels puts it on, and divers come from all over the place. They even come from other countries, I believe.
Yeah, I think in past events they have.
Yeah, they've had from other countries just to come and participate in this.
Right.
And that's what they're doing. They're picking up the trash that people leave from when they're on the tubes. They just throw the bottles and everything. And it's gotten so to the point where they even have the most unique
items pulled out.
Items pulled out because they find all kinds of things in there. And this is kind of the same thing that we experience here. There was people tubing, and they just throw their trash everywhere. Now, when we did it a couple of years ago, we were doing a cleanup, and I actually found a huge board. I don't know if I mentioned it in the podcast in the past, but remember, I found a huge board with a bunch of nails sticking up.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and it was buried just right under the mud, right from where the kids were jumping into the water.
Right.
Now, it's obvious that they didn't hit the bottom of the creek, because if they had, they would have stepped on it. And it was crazy. And that to me, when I saw it, I knew immediately that somebody put it there.
Right.
That wasn't something that just fell into the water, It was put there deliberately right there so that somebody could step on it and hurt themselves. And to me, that's just stupidity. That's just crazy.
And laziness.
Yeah.
They didn't want to put things away or let's just get rid of this.
Some of the stuff when we first did the cleanup at the creek was, it hadn't been cleaned since the flood of '98.
Right.
So we encountered a lot of things the first time that we cleaned. I mean, there was fish tanks, stuff that probably was pulled out of somebody's house, ended up in the creek.
Right.
But the year that we did it after that, we pulled out a bunch of shopping carts and things like that.
Right.
So when we went back the following year, lo and behold, we found more shopping carts, and those were new. They had just thrown them in there.
Right.
And that's just, I don't know what to say anymore. Without getting extremely...
No kidding. It really gets my dander up.
Yeah, I don't mind going there and cleaning up. I don't mind diving and picking up the occasional trash, but when you deliberately throw these huge things in there, and those of you that know me, I can get pretty vocal about things. To me, I'm trying to refrain from using.
Keep it clean. Keep it clean.
Yeah, But anyway, it's crazy. I think it's just really stupid, and somebody needs to do something about it. We're willing to help if the city allows us to go in there and dive in there. The last time we tried, it was like cutting red tape because of the hydrilla. They didn't want us to hurt the. Trust me, we're not going to hurt anything more than people are doing it already.
I mean, we can dive recreationally there, but to pull stuff out,
we need permission from the city.
I'm like, come on, seriously.
And those pictures that you saw that the hydrilla was kind of to the shallow,
right?
Now that stuff is pretty thick. I mean, when we
oh my gosh, yes.
I mean, you can get tangled in that, and that's no joke. Yeah. And it's real close to the shore. And if somebody's swimming on there and they get their foot tangled or something, forget it.
You're going to be there a while.
You're going to be there a while, and it's deep. So if you're just a novice swimmer, somebody can easily drown in there.
Yeah.
It's at least 6 to 7 feet where the hydrilla is, and as you move further down, it gets deep.
Yeah.
At least 12 feet by the dam.
Right. And that water gets pretty strong.
Yeah.
So you'd be fighting the current as well as trying to get free of the hydrilla.
I remember we had a hard time swimming up that. Robert's in great shape. He was winded.
Yeah, definitely. You get a good workout swimming against that. That's so true. So yeah, that's our soapbox for this week. So please, folks, take care of your trash. Pick it up. There's just no excuse not to take the appropriate precautions.
My word to anybody who's listening out there: if you're out there walking around and you see somebody, doing some, just kind of politely go up to them and say, "Excuse me, do you mind picking that up?" And of course, don't get confrontational.
Right.
That's the last thing that we would want anybody to get hurt over, a piece of trash. But if that's the case, pick it up yourself. Please do us that favor and pick it up. If you see someone doing it, you may want to just kind of, hey, that's not cool. Don't do that.
Yeah.
But of course, if they get confrontational, just walk away. And unfortunately, there's people out there that are just that.
They're
like
looking
that.
for a fight for everything.
Yeah, So, and there are people that are constantly drinking out there. So
that's a great that usually releases inhibitions. So
be careful with that.
Yeah,
help us out, but be careful at the same time.
And oh, by the way, consider stopping just bad nasty habits that make you trashy. Like smoking, that kind of stuff. Because what do? You throw that stuff out your window. I see that all the time. I feel like ramming cars that I'm behind when I see them throwing their cigarette butts out the window. And when I see you throwing it out into the lake or the creek, I get angry too. So, you know what? They're just... Why trash your body and then trash the world around you? It's just not necessary.
Yep, I agree.
So, but sometimes people lose stuff. It just, they have these weird combination of really bad processes and planning, and suddenly they find that something gets knocked overboard. I had somebody been trying to work a time to meet where they had an iPhone and their keys to their work rolled up in a shirt, and their buddy, I guess, grabbed the shirt to hand it to him, didn't realize the stuff was rolled in there, and just kind of yanked it, and of course just dumped it in the lake. And so sometimes we get those phone calls. Here's the thing, folks. We're typically not going to go diving if it's within recreational dive limits, as far as being 130 feet or shallower. We're typically not going to dive on it for free because it's not a recreational dive anymore. It's a search and recovery, and it's work, and it requires us to focus on setting up a search pattern, trying to help you find out, locate where it is and actually retrieve it. And in Lake Amistad, that becomes a challenge because it's a silt bottom, and it can be very thick, and so it may be virtually, depending on the item, it may be virtually impossible to locate it, much less retrieve it. So if you lose something at the lake, by all means, you can try and contact us and see if we're available, because we have to work a time that both of us are available to do this. It's not a solo effort. But you have to ask yourself, are you absolutely certain where you lost it? Yes. Now, it helps if you have, if you had GPS coordinates. Yeah, absolutely. I can't tell you how many times I've run into people that said, I know exactly where I lost it. And then they pull up and they're like, oh. And then, oh, by the way, without something like a GPS, where you lost it may not be where you thought you lost it because the lake is changing levels. So I know I was exactly 5 feet away from the shore and I was in this little cove. Well, 5 feet away from the shore may be now only 1 foot away from the shore. Or if the lake comes up, it may be 20 feet away from the shore. So you can't go by natural navigation and dead reckoning to find this stuff. The time that you lost it, the conditions under which you lost it, the type of object it is. If it's really heavy, it may have dropped straight down from where it entered the water, but it also may be buried all the way to the rock through the silt, which means we're not going to see it.
No.
And it doesn't take much water motion before an indentation where something plummeted through the silt is covered over and you can't tell that anything was ever there.
No, yeah. Just to get an idea of how bad it is, we dove one time and I was actually dropping kind of fast. I was dropping fast, a little overweighted, and
he's going down. He's going down.
I went down pretty hard. I put my arm out just to stop myself, and I thought, okay, cool, not a problem. My arm sunk into the natural muddy bottom up to about right here.
Isn't that sad?
That's
gooey. That is nasty.
Yeah, and it took some strength to get it out. So, and I wasn't dropping that fast. So if it's like an item like keys or something that's got just a little bit of weight, it's gonna get buried in there. The chances of us finding it is we're pretty good. So I guess maybe a 50-50. Yeah. But like Rob mentioned, you got to have exact coordinates. You got to know exactly where you dropped it. Yeah. And even at that, it's still a 50-50 chance that we're going to be able to find it.
Yeah. And that's why, even though we're going to negotiate a fee to go out and do this, because it's work, it's not play, we cannot guarantee that we're going to be able to recover what it is. You know, another thing to think about is if it's somewhat light and flat, like a phone, could actually do one of these numbers as you're as it's coming down to the bottom, and so it's not going to drop straight down. So it may actually go any number of directions before it actually rests on the bottom. And oh, by the way, there's virtually no way that the phone is going to be operational after being down there for a few days or a week or 2 weeks. So you will be buying a new one, or your buddy will be buying a new one. So, well, hey, how about a commercial?
A commercial
break, man.
A commercial break. Okay,
yeah.
I'm going to give you time. Last week I told you guys that I was unprepared because I'd been suffering from, just different things that I've had to do.
Right.
So I told you all that I would have a decent commercial this time for you. One of the things that when we go diving with, Rob and I, we always want to make sure that we have everything squared away. We check and double check and
right
and whatnot. But sometimes you just run into a small little issue that
it's those darn whatnots that get you.
Those whatnots that don't get you. They get you. I'm sorry, don't get you. They get you when you least expect it. And how do you do that? Of course, we've said this before. Any reason is a good reason to call a dive.
That's right.
Don't ever feel like you gotta force a dive, even though you may want to. You really like you really want to do it, but you just can't do it, and it's best not to try it. But you can run into issues from an O-ring busting on your scuba tank, or strap breaking on your fin or your mask, or just small little things. Well, it's always good to have what a way to get out of that.
Right.
And the best thing that you can do is get yourself a Save a Dive kit.
There you go.
Okay. Now, what this kind of does, this is by Trident Scuba Diving Accessories, and I picked this up. I think it was for about $40.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's kind of pricey, but I'll go and show you the contents of it here in a minute. I'm going to bring you up a picture so that you guys can see.
Let's do that.
And I'll tell you what's inside of this little thing. It's everything that you need to save a dive in a convenient carrying case. By the way, that blue case it's got an O-ring and it is watertight. So
that
you're
is
not
awesome.
Yeah, so things you can put your keys and the phone in there. It's not going to get wet. The case features, it measures actually 8x5 and 3.5 inches tall. It comes with a multi-tool that has a standard flathead screwdriver, 4 different size wrenches, and 2 different size Allen wrenches to help with your. The actual Allen wrench will help for your regulator, your first stage on the regulator.
Right,
in case
there's ports.
There's ports on there that you got to make sure that are good to go.
Sweet.
And it also comes with a silicone replacement mouthpiece.
Oh, wow.
A silicone replacement mask strap. A silicone replacement fin strap.
There you go.
Yeah.
I have actually had to replace that for people.
Mm-hmm. A heavy-duty snorkel keeper, 2 zip ties, a 20-piece various size O-ring.
There you
kit.
go.
And that's the one that actually comes in handy because we've run into this in the past. You put on you're putting on your first stage on your tank. You're tightening it down. You're going to turn your air on, and then bam, you blow an O-ring. And most tanks, that do have a standard type of O-ring that you can use. So.
Yeah.
And then it also comes with a little silicone lube, so that in case you gotta seal something, you go and just put silicone on it. But yeah, it works great. Let me open this thing up.
All right.
Well, you see, there you go. Mine just broke.
Already?
It's the strength. No, it just
you don't know your own strength, laddie.
It just came off.
You got to be careful.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna show a couple of things here. All right, and there's your O-ring, your little O-ring kit. Comes in, there's 20 pieces in there. I actually bought one just specific for the scuba tanks.
All right.
Because these have various, and the ones that mostly go, because when you're filling your tanks, they tend to wear down because of the heat. So you got to replace them every now and then. There's your little silicone lube.
Important, especially for anything that's going to need sealed underwater, like dive lights.
Yes.
Camera cases.
All kinds of stuff. And, of course, there are the various straps. You have.
That's a big strap.
Yeah,
that's a strapping young strap is what that is.
Okay, I think you know what this one is. This is your mask.
Oh, I was going to say that looks like a superhero mask.
This
is
for
Robin.
This is your fin. No, this is not the...
But it's not to make it...
Well, if it was gold and had a little red star in there, I could put it on
that's right. It could be Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman, there you go.
Are we not? Are we not comic book geeks?
Yeah, I'll tell you. Now, this is the most important tool. I'm going to just kind of show you the little multi-tool.
I love that.
Yeah, it's stainless steel. It comes with all kinds of different wrenches and everything that you need. It comes with a pick, screwdrivers. It's got a flathead screwdriver, a Phillips head screwdriver. It comes with quite a lot of things. I'm gonna see if you can kind of hold it up.
There we go.
There.
Yeah.
And of course these little wrenches are perfectly fit for your hoses if you need to kind of loosen them from your first stage to tighten them down or change it.
Right.
You know, whatever it is that you have to do, replace the hose on it. You can do it yourself. The picks come in handy whenever you have to remove the O-ring off of your tank.
Yeah.
The actual valve of the tank, you gotta hook it off of there. And then of course it comes with the Allen wrenches that actually will fit the
You have an interruption from another guest?
Yeah, we have a guest. But it all works pretty good, and it all is in an airtight little case.
Nice.
And I actually keep more stuff in here. I've added a couple of other things. I keep...
That's the thing. You can always add to a kit. Mm-hmm. Always a good idea.
My anti-fog, I keep an extra backup of spray. I also keep extra little... Look at that. Hose retainers.
There we go.
There we go.
Keeps you from dangling stuff off like your hoses.
And of course, I got
carabiners.
I always carry these because these are always handy.
They really are.
You see them like at the stores for 98 cents or 97 cents.
Yep.
Pick a couple of them up because they're awesome for holding all kinds of stuff.
Yep. You get all these D-rings typically on a BC, and those can snag anything on there.
And then there's a replacement mouthpiece.
Nice.
Which I don't use, but if I needed to,
I got it.
Yeah, I have it. So that's pretty much it.
Cool. So that's Trident, huh?
That is Trident. They have all kinds of tools. You can actually download their online catalog.
Yes.
It's in PDF format.
Full color.
They have everything you can possibly think of.
That sounds like a Karnak or
a Carmack.
I remember Ed McMahon would say, everything you could ever want is right there. Wrong again.
Wrong again.
Wrong again, my friend.
I also have had to go through a couple of zip ties. So I have extra ones there.
Absolutely. So Trident, the industry award winner for innovation and excellence in diving accessories.
There you go. Thank you.
All right. Good job. So, all right. Let's do a little bit of the tips, training, and tech coming up. We're winding down to the end of a season, really. Hard to believe we're getting that close, but before you know it, we'll be moving into school. And then, of course, right behind that, you'll be hitting the holidays, Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas. So we do have one more scheduled trip to Balmorhea. The weekend of 17-18 August. That is our anniversary. Tara and I will be celebrating our anniversary. So we'd love for you to join us there. Looks like we're going to have another pretty good sized group going for that as well. And of course, we still have one more basic open water course scheduled for the year. Although weather permitting, I'll probably have one or two more added in as well, but for sure we've got one scheduled the week of 23 through 26 August. So sign up as soon as possible if you want to be included. And of course, our next Del Rio Dive Club meeting is at Rudy's Restaurant, 16 August, of course, at 7 o'clock. You can always find that information out on our Dive Club website, delriodiveclub.com, and on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Del Rio Dive Club. And you can always contact either Scuba Bob or myself via our Facebook pages, or follow us on Twitter. Mm-hmm. You see it in our lower thirds. But also coming up, we have DEMA.
DEMA, yes.
Yes, the Dive Equipment Manufacturers Association show. It's always held every year, typically around going into fall, October, November time frame this year.
You know, one thing I like is they change locations every year.
Yeah, they go back and forth between Orlando and Las Vegas. Viva Las Vegas. Yeah, they and this year it is in Las Vegas, which is a little bit easier travel, I think, for some of us here in West Texas. So I may be trying to see if there's any way that Tara and I can go to that. At the very least, you can come away with some neat demonstrations, a little bit of training, especially if you're a PADI professional, dive master or instructor, assistant instructor, and so forth. You can get some training experience, etc. there, but also, at the very least, you can walk away with a bunch of little giveaways. Everywhere you go, they got little trinkets they give you. You might get some sea gold or some other some little sample packets of stuff to clean your BC and wetsuits and stuff like that. So, as a matter of fact, let me bring up the website here. There we go. Let me pull the lower third out there. Oops, that's not what I wanted. There we go. So, as you can see, we've got here's some video and shots from last year's show. A lot of the shots from the things they've got going on. They do a pretty good job with their website. If you're an attendee, of course, you can go to the attendee page and see what kind of things. Here's how you register. It's easy to register. You do need to be a professional, either run a dive shop or be an instructor or dive master, that kind of thing, in order to get entrance into these. But they usually have some pretty good deals as far as getting hotels, etc. If you're an exhibitor, here's some information that they've got on what you'll need to bring, how you'll be set up, how you can look at the floor plan, which is pretty cool. There we go. I mean, this is pretty extensive. All your pathways for staff.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Some of these displays they have set up are like you can actually try out gear. They'll have like a portable tank set up, and yes, I kid you not, you have a little portable tank you can get into and try out stuff. I'll be surprised because if they don't have some place that's that lets you try out rebreathers, because that rebreathers used to be super expensive, and now they're a
couple $1,000s. But
now they're getting less and less expensive, and they're more automated. The computers that are built into those, you don't have to do all the mixing yourself. It will actually mix on the fly. So, and they're getting more attainable by recreational divers. So they now have PADI, and I think most of the other big names in training have recreational rebreather certifications. As a matter of fact, I keep getting little emails and tweets from PADI saying, "Hey, won't you become a recreational rebreather instructor?" You know, of course, you have to be certified to use a rebreather first.
Right.
So we're talking just to get certified to teach rebreather. It would cost almost $2,000 to get it done.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, that's something I wouldn't mind getting into.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know, if you don't know what a rebreather really is, they're heavily used in the commercial diving industry for all kind, real deep diving. But well, yeah, they're pretty cool. If anybody's seen the movie Sanctum,
yeah, they use rebreathers.
They use rebreathers there, and they actually talk about them a lot because they just use them a lot in that movie. They do run out of air, so you gotta change the tanks inside of them.
But it takes forever to run out of, because the idea is they have a system similar to what you use in submarines or spacecraft.
Right.
That they have scrubbers that actually clean out, isolate your carbon from where you exhale, and then filters it out, and then just pumps a little bit more O2 in the mix or air into the mix, and so it just refreshes it. So it recycles your air.
Right.
So you can actually dive for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And for your more expensive setups, they're actually designed to do multiple mixes, and so you can actually have it configure the balance of O2 to other gases for diving deeper, because you can run into oxygen toxicity if you dive too deep on higher levels of O2. Looking at the website here, we've got some of the features they've got. Exhibit sponsored seminars, tons of seminars, so you don't have to be just doing stuff with Patty. A lot of Dan will be there. Divers Alert Network will be there, so you'll have opportunity to even get some certifications for like administering O2. As more of an actual course. Espresso education sessions. I love that.
You're drinking coffee.
Yeah, that's right. You're going to learn how to take part in this energizing keynote session on effective business strategies for success in 2012 and beyond. New product showcase.
Ooh,
new products and technology. Nice. Yeah, that's I'd be hanging around that.
Yeah.
Being introduced at DEMA are the latest innovations to hit the industry. Technical new product showcase pod. Discover the latest innovations in diving gear.
Scuba demonstration
pool. There we go.
There it is.
That's it. You too can get wet and try out the new gear. Exhibitors will be on hand for new product demonstrations to allow attendees to test out the latest product innovations. I love it. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
See me walking around that baby in my wetsuit.
No kidding. Yeah, exactly. So as you can see, there's their website is pretty well decked out for exactly the kind of things you'd be looking for. So if you're a dive professional, or part of like a dive shop or something like that, you may want to check this out. I think it's a worthwhile opportunity. Of course, it is a marketing tool, but bottom line is you get exposed to stuff that you may have only read about. If you read any of the trades like the Undersea Journal or scuba diving or sport diver, that kind of thing. It gives you an opportunity to actually get hands-on to some of the stuff. And you may come away some little giveaways and goodies. And they usually have little drawings and things like that to win some gear. So you might end up walking away with a scooter or a regulator.
Wetsuits. Yeah. One thing that I've learned over the years, especially, like, for example, I've mentioned that I got into, like, bike riding, like biking, and done a lot of research as far as that is concerned. One thing that I found out real quick, and this is kind of the same thing with scuba diving. If you look at a magazine or you see something on the internet, you see a picture of it, it's totally different when you see it actually in your hands. It just gives it a whole different feel. That's why I always tend to want to go to a dive shop and look at the new stuff that's coming out.
Right.
Feel it and see, weight and just shape and everything. Because if you look at it in a picture, it looks great. But then when you see it, firsthand, it doesn't. It might not meet your expectations. So it's always good to go out there and see all this stuff. For example, I was at a dive shop this summer when I took my gear to get serviced.
Yeah.
And I've been looking for a new primary night dive light.
Right.
Because mine's currently it's got the flu right now. So.
So in other words, had we been going on the night dive tonight, you would be borrowing one of my lights.
Yes, I would have been using one of your lights. Yeah. Because I ordered the bezel for it directly from the manufacturer, and it still has
Tony Bezel.
Yeah, Tony Bezel. Yeah. And it still has.
Hey, Mickey, you're so fine.
Right. It still hasn't left the shop, so I'm a little concerned with that. Yeah. But nonetheless, it is a good light, so I don't mind waiting. But I was looking at replacing the light, and I've been looking at one, I've been looking at one.
Sorry.
In the on the internet and on the catalog, and I found the one that I want, but I actually had the chance to see it firsthand.
Nice.
And that thing is huge.
Is it really?
It looks small in the, the.
It's a bazooka. It's an underwater bazooka.
It's bigger than the one that I currently own right now.
It's not the size.
I know.
It's the lumens.
It's the lumens. Well, this one has 900 lumens, so I can
you can land an aircraft.
I can actually get a tan underwater. I'll shine it on you.
You turn it on, and all of a sudden fish are boiling.
They're boiling. we can just grab them and take them up, and we can have a snack.
All we need is now a device that fillets them underwater.
And we got our knife.
I'm going to have some broiled tilapia. Thank you very much. Fresh from the lake.
No problem. And it's got a couple of dimming switches on it. So, when we see a big catfish down there, I'll just throw it on high and we'll just charge that baby right there.
It has 2 settings, sunburn and suntan.
But, yeah. So, anyway, I was looking at this thing, and the light it's huge.
How big is the casing?
The casing itself is actually, it's small. I don't want to say that it's so big, maybe 5 inches total.
Right.
All the way around. So it's thin. The only thing is the light is long. It's super long.
So how many batteries does it?
Well, it's 8 D-size batteries,
wow.
But it's long, and I don't know, what the other space is for, because I didn't get to open the light, but I was just looking at it. And when I turned it on,
it's for all the spare bulbs.
Yeah, when I turned it on, the thing it was heavy, but when I turned it on, literally it
pushed you backwards.
It burned
Thrusters
my hand.
on full.
Yeah, I got 3rd-degree sunburn on
the palm of my blowtorch.
Probably this far away. Like, this is the light, and here's my hand. I was about this far away, and I could that thing was emanating some heat.
Now you realize I'm surprised they let you do that, because you're not normally supposed to turn those on out of the water, because they get so hot those bulbs will burn out.
And they actually told me, go ahead and turn it on. See the lumen on this thing. So I was like, okay, because most shops will not allow you to turn on those certain type of lights, because the bulbs will get extremely hot and they'll burn out the bulb. So but every now and then they'll tell you, go ahead and turn it on, and you'll see it, and it'll tell you, okay, turn it off, because it gets really hot, and you can only turn them on in the water.
That makes a good little diving tip for newer divers.
Mm-hmm.
Don't use your dive light as a searchlight to find your way in the dark. Every once in a while you can kind of turn it on to get a quick glance at something, but if you turn that on outside the water and leave it on, you're going to shorten the life of the bulb and the unit itself. It's designed to work underwater, so it builds up a lot of heat, and that water helps dissipate that heat. So save yourself some money, extend the life of your equipment, and use it where it's supposed to be used. If you need a torch on the land, get yourself... There are plenty of really great land
Walmart
torches. Yeah, no kidding. LED too, even so. And those are cooler, but they still are designed to work underwater. Get ones that are designed to work outside the water, rather than you use up a perfectly good, expensive underwater.
Trust me, these things are not cheap.
No.
If you want a good light, if you want, like Rob mentioned, lumen and stuff like that, if you're going to be doing any kind of night diving, you're going to want a really good light.
Right.
These things are, you can find them decent price, but they're still above $50.
Yeah.
And they go as high as $300.
Yeah.
And these are not the actual professional, search or rescue recovery lights.
Right.
That, require like a huge battery pack that you attach to your gear. But these things are expensive, so please take care of them. And
special guest Grace at this.
This is the other one. This is
our youngest.
This is the spaz.
Would you like to say something on the microphone? Wunderbar, tastes better than the old dog show.
Real quick, I know that we're kind of pressed for time now.
But it's our show, so we can do what we want.
I actually was catching this new thing that came out. It's from Camelback. Because I mentioned
they make the water.
Right. They make the water dispenser backpack for for hydration.
Let me guess, they make one for underwater.
Yeah, they do actually. No, they came out with a new product. If you're in a certain situation, it's since their product thing is water.
Right.
They have something like a like a thermos type thing, to where you can
picking out a thermos for you.
To where you can. It's called the UV something. It has a UV light that's inside of it that you can actually, and it just came out. It'll run about $99. You can pick up water from any water source, from any creek, and they were more like Mexico, the worst water in Mexico. No, I'm serious. There's their video on their website, to where you can actually pick up the water and you turn on the switch on this UV light and you swish it back and forth a couple of times, and it actually, because of the UV light that's on the housing of it, will kill any bacteria. Of course, the water might not taste great, but you will not get sick. It'll kill all
I'm going to have to. I'm from Missouri. I'm going to have to look that up and see exactly how that works. I want to know. I don't get into the whole snake oil salesman thing, so I want to definitely see how the tech works on it.
Yeah, it's new. It just came out. I saw it and I was like,
it's chocolate colored. But it won't kill you.
Well, this is if you want to go to places, unfortunately, Mexico has some beautiful places, but you want to stay away from their water. Now, it's not bad. There is bacteria in the water. You can drink it, but until your body gets used to it, you may get, a little loose in your stomach. But this
elsewhere.
Yeah, but this actually will. They're boasting about it, and it's actually pretty neat. I can't remember the actual name of it. It's from Camelback. They make the hydration systems, and since I started bike riding, I was looking for one, and I came across this thermos, and I'm like, what is that?
Wow.
And it's UV. So
that's
the first thing
cool.
I thought, okay, well, if you swish water around in this thermos and it kills the water, and after like 4 or 5, maybe 6 swishes back and forth,
right?
These are the same things that people use for sun tanning.
What?
Those UV, those beds, those UV beds to suntan. Well, it's like if it can kill bacteria in water in like a couple of swishes, what is it doing to your skin?
I'm telling you.
It's dangerous, folks. Stay out of those things.
But at least you can drink the sweat.
Yes. Anyway, but that's kind of what I just want to throw that out there. Guys, look it up. It's actually pretty interesting. There's videos on YouTube about it.
Wow. Okay. All right, well, that just about does it for another episode of Two Guys Who Dive. Trying to think, do we have anything coming up next weekend?
No, it's the following week. Yeah. No, 2 weeks.
For the 18th for the trip.
Yeah, for the trip.
Yeah. So we will probably have to do our podcast the evening of Sunday on the weekend of the 18th. Mm-hmm. Come back and be all disheveled and knock out the podcast, but it looks like next week we should be also at our normal time and date, Saturdays at 8 p.m. Central Time. Don't get confused and try and look for us 8 East Coast or 8 West Coast time.
Because you'll see a black
you'll see a black screen, maybe a commercial or two on Ustream.tv. And as always, you can visit us at our Facebook page, Facebook.com/WRDiveClub.com, and our website, www.WRDiveClub.com. And also, the third Thursday of every month, we have our Dive Club meeting. Lately, it's been at Rudy's Restaurant. Every once in a while, we swap it around with different places like Buffalo Wings and Rings. We might try yet another place. I don't know what would be a good place to try out, but we'd definitely love to have you all there. We have a great time, and there's good food, which is always important.
Mm-hmm.
So without any other further ado, that completes the podcast for this week. We will see you next week on another episode of Two Guys Who Dive.